this is the part where the black tank came in. Grand Design actually sent us a black tank as warranty. What we were told is the tank actually busted at the seam and ruptured, which was not fun. Luckily, the tank had already been dumped, and we were flushing the tank, and then it was full of basically fresh water, if that's what you want to call it. And so this is the part, the tank, you can see the broken tank there on the ground. And so what I have to do now is actually cut the holes for both the drain from the toilet, and then I have to cut the hole for the vent that goes to the roof. So do a lot of measurements here. Have to get it exact because once you slide that tank up in there, it's kind of a weird angle. So we'll see that here in a few minutes. So in this part of the process, the black tanks and gray tanks also, they have sensors, and it's a 4-part sensor. It's got 4 little probes that are inside the tank, and they're in 4 different positions in the tank. And of course they have a wiring harness, and when you remove the tank, you have to unscrew each of those little wires. And so right here I'm actually reconnecting, because one of the wires was just, the screw was inaccessible, and so I had to actually cut the wire. So I decided that the best thing to do would be to heat shrink that wire back together, so I had a good connection underneath. And so anyway, this video here is showing me creating that heat shrink and working the wire around. And then if you also notice in the video, there's a little valve hanging down, and that's the cable that connects to the black tank valve. And when you put the tanks back together, you have to basically take the valve apart and then put your little gaskets back on there and then set it back together. It's not easy to do because you have to line everything up while the tank's up there, and it really takes 2 people. And you'll see here in a minute that the RV technician that actually came out, and I just assisted him to make the process go a little faster. He actually will be in the video here shortly. But this is where the tank actually comes in right there. That's where the valve, where the Y is from the black, and then of course the gray is on the other side. And you'll see in the video too, you got wires just running everywhere, and HVAC piping down there, and so there's just a lot of little pieces, and you don't want to mess anything up. And then of course the leftover rubber gasket from the previous valve, when you take it off, it's a good idea to scrub that off and make sure it's a smooth, clean connection so you don't have any leaks once you connect that back together. And so I'm going to finish that up here, and then we're going to go on to the next step. And here we're going to make an elbow where the black tank flush comes in. There's a little elbow, and you have to reconnect that, and it's just a threaded on adapter at the top where the black tank flush is. So I went ahead and put that elbow together while you can not be up under the camper. It's a lot easier. And what the black tank flush, oddly enough, if you don't know how they work, is it's just a line coming in from outside, and it's almost like a little screen. There's no kind of anything magic about it. It's on the sidewall right above your sensors, and when you spray it in there, just kind of, I guess, mist it out, because it's got almost like a little bit of screen or something right there. and that just puts water into the tank and helps also to wash the sensors off so that no paper or anything gets stuck to your sensors. So pretty easy process, but it's easier to go ahead and create that up front, so then when you get ready to put that in, you only have one connection to make up inside in the underbelly. So in this section of the video, you can see I'm taking apart the brand new valve that came with the black tank, and you got to take 4 screws off, and it's a bolt and nut system. And then of course inside there is a gasket, and you'll see that I'm going to take this apart, and then I'm going to hook up the one end so that the valve has to go up inside, and you can see how you just have to match it up. And I went ahead and mounted the valve itself up in the hole, and then that way when the tank got up there, we just had to slide the bracket on, or the valve onto the tank, and then make sure it's in the right position, and then set the glue. So a couple little steps you want to pre-do before you actually get the tank up in there, otherwise you don't have any room to work. Now question, do you want to go ahead and do the water line while it's down here?
We can.
Just so I don't, well, because I won't be able to get the tool up in there real well.
Yeah.
I know the electrical, we can slide it down and get them in,
Yeah.
but this might be kind of a problem. Slipped up.
Just a minute. Let me get Alright. Now, this is where you help.
Need to go up inside.
Yep.
Line those up.
Yep.
So this next part is where we've gotten the black tank drain from the toilet connected, and I had to go up into the crawl space or the belly or whatever of the storage area. And then also the vent, which both of those were very difficult. They have little rubber sleeves on them, and they're just really tight, and you have to pop them on, and that was a little bit of a pain. Took a few minutes to actually do that. Plus he had to hold the tank the whole entire time, which is kind of a pain. And then this next part is there's 2 brackets that actually go, one goes down the side of the tank, and that holds the tank up on the side, and then there's another bracket that actually goes underneath that just gives a little support for both tanks, and we're going to put both those brackets in here now. And in the meantime, you just have to hold it up there to get that bracket in there, and then once you're done with that, then it's a matter of working on the next part, which is actually connecting the valve there at the end, and you can see that on the left side, the valve on the end.
These are square bits, so they both have Philip, and I think the square bit's a number 2. But
You had a square bit out somewhere.
I do. I got it right here. I needed a little bit of a different size. Red goes up to the top.